really getting into the final mixes in detail for multi-platinum recording. It's about the recording side. But I just felt like, you know, with as much detail as we've gone through, watching all the overdubs and watching us build these tracks, that we wanted to at least show some of the final mix stuff that was in progress for the different artists. So we're showing a little bit of footage from one song from each artist. We brought in different engineers to mix all this stuff, and I think they did a great job. And again, it's great for me as the engineer, editor, producer on a project. If I do everything, if I engineer and edit and produce and mix and do all that, to me it starts sounding like me. So one of the great things that I like to do is, if I'm really involved in a project, at the end I'll bring in somebody completely on the outside to mix it. And they'll bring things to the mix that I never even thought of, because it's just right in front of my face and I'm so used to seeing it and working with it every day that I like to bring in somebody like John or Bill Vornick or somebody like that to mix after the fact.
So let's go through and start exploring the tracks. So the lead vocal is one of the most important elements, so I'm actually going to do this slightly in a reversed way. Everyone always starts with the drums, but I want to start with the vocals today. And I'd like to hear what our vocal sounds like. Maybe we'll give them a little support from the piano.
Interstate and steady rain, another 5 and I'll be fine. With luck I'll lie beside you, and in record time you'll kiss me hello, and then I'll know we're us. Each time I leave I quietly determine for the umpteenth time, no miles apart could ever make me change my mind. I practice the words.
I am going to do one thing quickly. If I hold down the command key while I choose a particular processor, I happen to really like the Focusrite processors. Now, when I chose that, nothing happened, supposedly. But when I come back and look, you can see now at the top of my plugin list is that EQ, which I'm excited about. So I can do, take a little bit of the very bottom off. I may not do it at the very beginning, but certainly as the song goes along and the band comes in, all that extra low frequency energy takes up an awful lot of real estate, and it's great at the beginning when it's the only thing playing, but it may not be as useful as the song goes along. So I'm going to start just building up my lead vocal chain.
Interstate and steady rain, another 5 and I'll be fine. With luck I'll lie beside you, and in record time you'll kiss me hello, and then I'll know we're us.
Here's another time when I want to set up the mono preferences to be the same. I'll do the same here, which is the other preference that I want to have come up at the top of the list for the dynamics is Focusrite compressor. So now when I pull up the list, these two are sitting right here ready to go. It just speeds things up a little bit. I don't want to have to go searching for my favorites. I want them to be at my fingertips. So it's a way to put them there more easily. So, boom, EQ.
Interstate and steady rain, another 5 and I'll be fine. With luck I'll lie beside you, and in record time you'll kiss me hello, and then I'll know we're us. Each time I leave I quietly determine for the umpteenth time, no miles apart could ever make me change my mind. I practice the words, could I rehearse enough? So till you can feel. soul so deep. Until I have you closer, there's no getting over the need to be you and me, with nothing in between, with nothing in between. Like a book, I'm understood the moment I'm inside your arms. And even now, you know what's beating in my heart. So listen to me, and then you'll see we're fine. So till you can feel me mean it, all that I'm asking is, please believe it. You read my heart like poetry. You move my soul so deep. Till I have you closer, there's no getting over the need to be you and me, with nothing in between. So till you can feel me mean it, all that I'm asking is, please believe it. You read my heart like poetry. You move my soul so deep. Until I have you closer, there's no getting over the need to be you and me, with nothing in between, with nothing in between, with nothing in between.
One thing I do want to check is make sure that the polarity of all the drum tracks follows or locks nicely with the overhead. So I'm just going to check the kicks. I'm going to turn off the bass as well while I do this. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do the same thing here. Sounds marginally fuller to me with the polarity inverted, so I'm going to leave it that way, I think. There's a little bump in the very bottom. Curious what this sounds like. I'm going to see what I can do without that. I'm going to go through my 3 room mics here. Well, I like them on the snare. I'm not sure about on the kicks. It's cool. For other songs, I might use those, but I'm not going to use them on this one. And the tracks that I'm not going to use for today, I'm just going to set aside. So it's the snare bottom, the mono, and mid mics. Maybe we'll experiment with that room mic a little bit.
No miles apart could ever make me change my mind. I practice the words, could I rehearse enough? Still you can feel me meaning. All that I'm asking is, please believe it, you read my heart like poetry.
The other thing I'm hearing is that there's lots of great lower level detail in the drum kit. I'm worried that's going to get lost in the big mix. So we're going to use a trick called parallel compression, sometimes called upward compression. PC for parallel compression. And we create a second bus. It's going to be sourced from the same, that's the way I'm going to do it today anyway, is from the same stereo mix, so the drum submix. And I'm going to use different compressor, not the Focusrite. I actually find that the Bomb Factory's 1176 works pretty well for this. Still hear a slight flam, so I'm going to put the same one over here and then bypass it. The other thing I'm going to do on this guitar, instead of just panning it off to one side, because I really kind of want it to have energy on both sides, I'm going to use a very short delay. Whoops, and I should have chosen the stereo version. And with no delay on the left side, but all delay on the right. But not a whole lot, just a, not long enough so we can hear a discrete echo, but but long enough so that it really moves the signal strongly off to the left side. Short delays, even a couple of milliseconds, can be enough to make if I were to put this at anything beyond 1.2 milliseconds, the guitar would sound like it was coming from just the left channel. But I may push it out a little bit longer than that, just for fun. Let's try just. Let's skip up to a place where he plays. So I move this out. Kind of like that. Obviously this one's not doing any, so only the right channel is delayed. You can hear the difference there that it, instead of just panning it, now we can use delays to create some stereo interest across the soundstage. toms. It's a little more bite, doesn't it?
See, we're fine. Still you can feel me mean it. All that I'm asking is, please believe it. You read my heart like poetry. You move my soul so deep. Till I have you closer, there's no getting over. Nothing in between. Till you can feel me meaning. All that I'm asking is, please believe it. Soul so deep. Until I have you closer, there's no getting over the need to be you and me. Nothing in between. With nothing in between. With nothing in between.
Okay. The one last comparison I need to do is on the guitars for the solo. And the solo only happens in that break, so we'll check it out there. Again, both really good. You know. I may go with the 121, just, you know, try something different so that the solo has a slightly different sound from the other guitars, so it kind of stands apart in that way. It's still going to need a little extra bite, though, to get through there, isn't it? for me, the main difference between good and bad is the attitude and listening skills. And that doesn't just mean, what can they identify the difference between 1K and 1.2K. Listening skills as in listening to to what the artist is saying and what they really want. Being open to suggestions, to trying new things, and not coming in with such a fixed way of doing things that they're just incapable of experimenting or going somewhere new. Being open to suggestions may be one of the most important things for anyone, but in particular in a creative environment. That's the difference between good and bad.
An experienced engineer, I guess, saying a good engineer would be someone who has 10 things that they could think of, on the spot that they could do to get the most out of that. It's also working with the people too, just being able to get the most out of performances. So confidence has a lot to do with that. Knowing the tools, knowledge of the equipment is big. So if you are one that really has taken the time to try all the different microphones, different preamps, different consoles, EQs, and spend the time to really know those differences, that's going to make you much more valuable.
Butterfly free.
Fly, leave the world underneath me. Fly, high enough to be. Fly, high enough to be. Butterfly free, butterfly free, butterfly free. Fly, leave the world underneath me. Fly, high enough to be. Fly. Leave the world underneath me. There's a soft breeze carrying me. Where will I go? A big sky, the place I always know. No particular place to be. Butterfly free. Blue, the thoughts of you can take my breath. But some days I feel the rain, get scared to death. Fly through the dark light and in between. Butterfly free. Where your heart is, will you come with me? Leave the world underneath me. High enough to be. Butterfly free. Butterfly free. Butterfly free.
There's probably a tendency for engineering when you're starting out to focus on the engineering part of the recording process, meaning the technical side of it. Am I using the right microphone? Do I need to change? Say if I'm recording with an artist, do I need to change compressors or whatever? And that can be a problem, because I guess one thing that I learned after kind of struggling through that, and I've seen other young new engineers maybe doing the same thing, is that the performance is the most important part. So if the performance is the most important part, then I have to have my act together, have my chops together where I get it quick, and if I have a situation, which happens quite a lot, where maybe an artist is ready, a musician is ready to perform, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, I wish I had 15 more minutes to change microphones. I just go with what I've got, because I know that getting the performance is the most important element, and later I can work around that. So I guess that's to say, don't lose the performance, over the engineering, the technology.
When you're first starting out, you're going to have to do a lot of projects. By telling how many hundreds of albums that might not be your cup of tea. Especially if you become a chief engineer in a studio, there might be some music that you don't care about, but you have to do as good on that music and be as attentive for the artist and the producer that's coming in the door to work in that facility that's hired you to run the facility and be the chief engineer. As good as you would be on something that you might like doing a little bit better. The main thing is make the album sound like the artist, not what you want the artist to sound like. Record the guitar the way it sounds, not the way that you want the guitar to sound. Think about what you're doing. You know, you're creating what they're giving you, not what you're giving them. Then when you get into production, you can turn that around and then make that guitar sound like you want it to sound. Getting ready to start a mix on Jenny, and to me, the most important thing about a mix is the vocals, not the drums and the rhythm section. So I'm going to start getting a vocal sound, and then I'm going to build the mix around the vocal. So I've got the vocal on channel 29, and I've got that being bussed out and coming back to channel 30, where I have an equalizer and an LA3A on it. And then I have that being bussed out to a PCM 42, which is a delay that I'm going to be using on the vocal. But we're not going to monitor that right now. We're going to get a vocal, just a basic vocal sound happening. And I know that she's in between an alto and a mezzo, so I know that her lowest frequency that she's going to hit is about 220, 240 hertz. So keeping that in mind, and also that we're in the key of A minor, trying to keep that all relative.
His Stetson hat is charcoal black. His eyes are a
So I'm going to go to the
color
equalizer and try to cut some of that low end.
That southern charm will lay you flat. His boyish smile will blow you all away. He plays his games to get you skin on skin. He stacked the deck, girls, you'll never win. He's a lover man, leave him, gonna mistreat him, party all the time. 500 horsepower, 90 miles an hour, hell of a ride.
That's getting some of the mud out of the bottom end.
Nothing's gonna shake him, never
I'm trying to
gonna
cut
break him, no
the
matter
pedal
what
tone,
you
which is
do.
from the tonic
He
to an
ain't
octave
your
below,
average
so I can float the vocal
pretty
in its own space.
senator. He's a rough and rowdy modern day cowboy.
Now listen now. And hopefully this will loop back again.
His Stetson hat
That's without
is
it.
charcoal black. His eyes
So
are
I've held the
steely
fundamental of the key
gray.
and the notes that she's singing,
That
and hopefully the
southern
vocals feels like it's starting
will
to
lay you
float right
flat.
out of the speaker.
His boyish
By
smile
eliminating
will blow you
the lower
away.
frequencies aren't needed, which could be noise just in the
Plays his
room,
games
or
to get you
of
skin
course every
on
note that you hit
skin.
has 15 overtones and then a pedal tone
Stack the
underneath
deck,
it.
girls,
So
you'll
eliminating that
never
pedal tone
win.
brings it right out and
He's a
eliminates
lover
it,
man, leave him,
eliminates
gonna
that
mistreat him,
what I call an
party all the
anchor that's holding it down.
time. 500
And you'll see me all day
horsepower,
long
90 miles an hour,
taking pretty much
hell
every
of a
instrument and doing a high pass
ride.
filter
Nothing's
to
gonna shake
eliminate
him,
that
never
anchor.
gonna break him, no matter what you do. He ain't your average pretty senator.
Okay.
He's a
I'm gonna try to
rough
find
and
where
rowdy
that
modern-day
P came from.
cowboy.
And I'm going to touch that up a little bit.
His Stetson hat is charcoal.
And there's something in there that's kind of
His
grinding me a little bit.
eyes are a steely color gray. That southern charm will lay you flat. His boyish smile will blow you all away. He plays his games to get you skin on skin.
I think I found it.
He stacked the deck, girls, you'll never win. He's a lover man, leave him, gonna mistreat him, party
I'm gonna narrow the cue a little bit.
500 horsepower, 90 miles an hour, hell of a ride.
Gonna add a little high-end shimmer to the top end.
Never gonna break him no matter what you do. He ain't your average pretty city toy. He's a rough and rowdy modern day cowboy.
I'm looking like my high passes is about
His
300.
Stetson hat is charcoal black. His eyes are a steely color gray. That southern charm will lay you flat. His boyish smile will blow you all away. He plays his games to get you skin on skin. He stacked the deck, girls, you'll never win. He's a lover man, leave him, gonna mistreat him, party all the time. 500 horsepower, 90 miles an hour, hell of a ride. Nothing's gonna shake him, never gonna break him, no matter what you do. He ain't your average pretty city toy. He's a rough and rowdy modern day cowboy.
M sounds good by itself. I like the attack on the DI, but I like the warmth of the amp. But that could carry it by itself, just having the amp in there. Again, on the amp, I'm going to go up and put a high pass filter in about 31, just so that we're floating, so that bottom octave of the amp. Of course, the lowest note on a bass is about 41.5 hertz. So eliminating 31 is going to grab it before it gets down to the pedal tone, which of course is an octave below. And I don't know if you can notice that, but that seems anchored to me. So I'm just sticking the high pass, kind of makes it walk out of the speakers a little bit. There's not too much high-end information to it. Seems to have pretty good attack. It's nice and smooth and round. So for right now, I'm just going to leave it alone and have the DI just a little bit above the amp. Add a little bit of cutting edge for it. Let's see what the acoustic guitars are doing. They're nice and beefy. But the lowest note on an acoustic guitar is 82 hertz, so I'm going to bring the high pass filter up. See if you can notice the pedal tone go away. I like to eliminate pedal tones when they're not needed. There's a little woofy going on. You're normally going to find it about 240 hertz on the better made guitars. Got a little air, probably about 12K. We'll shelf that. You have a little bite, because what's it going to be competing with? Hi-hat. To me, I think they're going to cut pretty good. I think I'm going to try putting a gate on it. I'm going to gate it completely. Bring the threshold up. I don't want to take it all, the snare all the way away. Just clean it up a little bit. Bring the range to about almost to a -40, and the threshold up. And the release almost about 0.3. That added a little bit more snap for me. Still wanting these drums to sound like live drums, and that they haven't been layered or replaced, because these are the natural drums. And that's the basic drum sound. Let me clear up some of these cymbals. I'm going to add a little sheen to the top end. I think that would be nice on the overheads. I'm going to take out the hard 400, a little wide Q there. Bring my high pass filter up. One thing about the overheads is they give you a good representation normally of what the drums are supposed to sound like. Also high passing the room mics, clean up some of the mud. Try to make them float a little bit. Of course, getting back to eliminating that anchor that's holding them down, wiping it out, letting them float. Let's bring in that B3 organ that's leaking back there and see how that sits. Bring it back to stereo. Get a little bit of that mud out of that organ, make it sit up. So I'm singing the high pass at 80, finding where the treble spots are, which are probably right around here. About 450-ish. I'm going to thin that out a little bit because there's so many instruments in that range. This will just kind of add a little pocket for them to come through. I'm going to add a little high-end sheen to it. It's got some nice distortion to it. Still got some low clunking going on down there, and I like low clunking on B3s, but that just cleaned it up. Hear that? Now, that probably won't clutter with the guitars as much. Still a lot of jumbling going on down there in the first two octaves. Because of the pattern the organ's doing, and it needs to be placed there because of the leakage in the overheads, I'm going to move this guitar over here and put the rhythm guitar to the left, and move the organ maybe about 10 o'clock, and move the chunking guitar over the rhythm a little bit more 9 o'clock-ish. Add a little bit more 4.3 to make it bite a little bit more.
He's the one Mama warned about, the kind that daddies never seem to like. First to shoot that whiskey down, the last man standing tall in any fight. His scarred up knuckles match his scuffed up boots. His neck is red, his collar blue. He's a lover man, leave him, gonna mistreat him, party all the time. 500 horsepower, 90 miles an hour, hell of a ride. Nothing's gonna shake him, never gonna break him, no matter what you do. He ain't your average pretty city toy. He's a rough and rowdy, modern-day His Stetson hat is charcoal black. His eyes are a steely color gray. That southern charm will lay you flat. Boy, you smile though you walk away. He plays his games to get you skin on skin. He stacked the dead girls, he'll never
So now you've seen the entire process of how we make a record, from the earliest stages in the artist demo all the way through up to the final mix and a little bit of the final mix. So I hope you've seen some of this behind the scenes stuff that maybe you didn't think about before, or if you're a seasoned engineer and you work on records all the time, I'm sure you've learned some things from watching some of these other great engineers that you can add to your daily workflow as well. So make sure you keep an eye on our website. It's multiplatinumrecording.com, where there's going to be lots of bonus footage and updates for recording. And also just keep an eye on our main website, multiplatinum.com. We have a lot of products coming out showing some greater detail and other aspects of this project, like mixing, vocal production, vocal recording, the percussion session, lots of different projects like that. So keep an eye out for those. And just thank you for watching. We appreciate your business and look forward to seeing you again.